Hi, I'm here today to review the Tracfone LG840G. Quite simply, this phone is the leading edge of the trailing edge of cell phone technology. If you're looking for a cheap phone that does everything you want it to do the way you want it to, then this phone pretty much fits the bill. I've had a Tracfone LG800 for a couple of years now, and this phone blows it out of the water. Okay, it is fantastic, and I think for the money it's well worth what you pay for it. First of all, it has a capacitive touch screen, which means when you touch something, it actually works. I mean, it's very light to the touch, and with the LG800, I was constantly having to press really hard on the screen to see if I could get whatever functionality I wanted to work. Not with this phone. You touch it, and it changes to what you want it to be. Okay. The phone can be set up with basically three main screens that are very easily accessed. The first screen would be contacts, and hopefully you can see it there. I'm going to point my finger to it, and occasionally I have to hit the refresh on this phone because it does have a screen blank after approximately 30 to 45 seconds. Okay, so you're going to see me hitting some buttons occasionally. It doesn't lock the phone when it does the screen blank though. All you have to do is hit the power button and it'll come right back up and you're ready to use the phone again. Okay, as I mentioned, there's three main screens. There's contacts, there's widget, and there's shortcut. Okay, and all three of those screens are customizable. The first screen being contacts, you can actually customize that to what appears to me 6 main contacts that you perhaps text quite a bit or phone quite a bit. I haven't added more than 6 on here. Perhaps if there's more than 6, then perhaps there's a little scroll bar to the right. Okay, I won't say there is, but anyway, you can have at least 6 right there. I can see real estate for 6, and basically you just hit the little wheel, little adjust button right there, and you can add a contact, and you can go through all your contacts right there, and if you're not interested in doing any of those, it'll let you actually delete contacts. You can see the little red X's on there, and I'm not going to modify anything right now, okay? If I do touch a contact, I have a sample contact set up. There's a little photo of me, and I can customize that photo to be whoever I want it to be. There's the phone number. I can click on call, or I can click on message, and I can start typing a message to this person. One thing that I don't particularly care for is when the message screen comes up, it is vertical on the telephone screen. You click on the message itself to start editing the message, and basically you got to rotate the phone. Okay, nice clicks on the phone when you're typing the messages. The keys are very responsive on the keyboard there, and once you're done, you can pick who you want to send it to. I just sent it to myself. Okay, and it'll probably pop up here in a second or two. Actually, no, I sent it to 5551212. Excuse me. So anyway, okay, you see how you got your contacts there. You also have a widget screen. Now, there's various widgets in this phone, such as there's the time widget, and there's a notepad widget. I recently went on a cross-country trip, and I used the time widget to tell me time at my home, and then also time at the city that I was visiting. the notepad widget. If I click there, it'll allow me to start typing a note. Now, this is an alternate keyboard right here. As you can see, it's more what we're accustomed to with cell phones. It does have a T9 capability. If you don't know what T9 is, then probably you're not interested in it, okay? I'm not going to go into what T9 is. Anyway, so just type a couple of characters there and you can see how they pop up, and there's a new note. If I bring it up, there it is. I can edit it. I can change a little bit of style. I can delete it, okay? I use the note-taking capability to remind me of things I need to pick up at the store and things along those lines. Certainly you have your own usages for those. Let's see, if you click on this little button off to the right over here, there's a little up arrow button. It'll let you customize which widgets you want on there. You can have a calendar widget, there's a music widget, looks like there's a photos widget, and then you just scroll those widgets back and forth, and apparently there's only 5 widgets on there, so I'm scrolling it back and forth and it's only giving me 5. And I'm going to go ahead and click on that one right there. And let's see if I drag it up. Yep, you can drag it up onto your screen, okay? And let's see, there's a photo widget. There we go. And you see how that's basically done. I just dragged whatever widget I was interested in, music player widget, so on and so forth. Okay, stop the customization. Now the third screen is going to be shortcuts, and they're quite frankly, they're very much like the widget screen. You can customize it as well. Right now I've got the Bluetooth, I've got an alarm clock, I've got a camera, I've got a World Wide Web browser, I've got an email widget shortcut, and a calculator shortcut. And once again, you can customize that, and the customization on it is much like the customization of your contacts screen. Okay, so you have an add and a done down here at the bottom. You can add, and it'll ask you what you want to add, and I'm not going to add anything at the moment, but you can see how you scroll through that. Notice how nice that the screen is reacting to my finger there. There's very little effort required. Like I said, I'm not going to add anything, just go back to the screen, and I don't want to delete anything either, so I'm just going to say done, okay? This phone does have the capability to surf Wi-Fi. You can connect to your Wi-Fi network. I've connected to 3 or 4 myself, and it works very good. It is basically an on-demand type situation where if there's Wi-Fi available and it can connect to it, you've set up the whatever passwords are necessary, encryptions that are necessary. If that Wi-Fi is available to it, it'll use it instead of using the Tracfone minutes, okay? If you do use the World Wide Web on the Tracfone minutes, it actually charges you, not by the minute, but it charges you by some type of volume, okay? So when you're surfing, you could surf for 5 minutes and not use much volume and exit out of the widget, and it doesn't use much of your minutes. Or you could surf for 2 seconds and watch a video, and perhaps you use a lot of your minutes, okay? So just be aware of that if you're going to be surfing on the Tracfone network, okay? The Wi-Fi is fairly easy to set up, and where you actually go to set that up, there we go, we timed out. You can see I timed out on the screen there. Just go to the top of the phone and hit the power button, and we're back up and going. Looks like my camera refocused. And if you want to set up the Wi-Fi, here's the various and sundry shortcuts to functionality that your camera does have. Camera does have the normal Tracfone prepaid. It's got your contacts, messages, calendar, camera, everything you would expect. There's the Wi-Fi widget, and it'll search for your available networks, and looks like there's 3, actually there's more than that. Yeah, there's about 5 of them within my area, and refresh, and I don't want to change anything. You can manually turn the Wi-Fi on and off, by the way, if you don't want it connecting. I did test the Bluetooth. Bluetooth works very well with my little headset for using in an older car that I have. I've used the voice recorder on the machine. It works very well. I've used the alarm on the machine. Works extremely well. Used the camera. It's got a 2 megapixel camera. Camera works very well on this phone. And let's see, what else have I used? I've used the video cam. The video cam works very well. Actually, the camera, just for taking still photographs, has a lot of functionality. Has brightness control, has a timer where you can set to say 2 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, along those lines. You can crop. I think you can crop the photo. I'm not certain about that. I don't remember. I don't think I did any cropping. But anyway, it does have a nice camera functionality in it. And let's see if there's any other thing on the flash screen. It does have stopwatch. I've used stopwatch. Stopwatch works very well. Has a tip calculator for if you're going to be using it at a restaurant. Has a nice little calculator on it. You can see there. And we'll exit out. And let's see, if you're going to make a call, you got your call button down there. Type in your number. I'm not going to make any call. And if you need to work with your contact list, it has very nice contact list functionality. Much better than the LG800 that I think this machine actually probably is going to replace in the future. Okay, there's my contact list, and it scrolls very well. You can see it scrolls very well. And if you've got a lot of contacts, I don't have that many, but if you do, off here to the right side, you have a drop down, and it'll let you pick a letter that's going to represent the where you'd like to go in your list, and there you go. I just hit the R, and it brought me to local restaurant, Red Pepper. And let's see, you can do groups. You can set up speed dials on this phone, like most other phones, favorites, so on and so forth. So not going to do any of that today, but as you can see, it does have a nice contact list, and it works very well compared to some of the other offerings from Tracfone. Messaging, okay, create a new message, and once again, I think I showed you a little bit of the messaging capability. Like I said, the keyboard switches to a horizontal view when you actually are typing in your message, and to me that's personally a little annoying, but I understand how it has to work that way. I'd rather it just go ahead and, when I'm in this screen right here, go ahead and be horizontal left that screen, but that's just my personal preference. You can send files with your message. It has a little insert button there, so if you want to pick up a picture or an audio or a video clip, you can even, there on that screen, you can record a new video clip. Like there's more there. You can send a note, a task, a calendar, or a V card. A lot of different things you can do with this messaging system here. Okay, so let's see, what else can I cover? Battery life, very good. It tends to hold for several days, and there's one thing that I have noticed that might be just a little bit or something that's not quite as good as the LG800 is this phone. The antenna on it isn't quite as good. It doesn't pick up quite as well as the older LG800. I was staying in a home recently that I know where a hard a location in the home where it's very difficult to pick up the cell tower, and the LG800 would pick it up with one bar. This phone would not pick it up at all in the exact same location. So so it's not that bad. The phone does pick up cell phone towers pretty good, but it's not quite as good as, once again, the phone that this phone is probably replacing. Okay. Let's see, what else can I tell you about this phone? The phone does have the capability to put a micro SD card in it. The one I purchased come with a 2 GB micro SD card. I don't know if they're packaging one of those with every phone. I suspect that they probably are, given 2 GB micro SD cards are fairly cheap. And it does come with a charger. Uses a micro USB charger. I have not actually plugged this phone into a computer to see if it'll swap files back and forth, but I did go online yesterday and I reviewed the apps that you can get for this phone, and this phone already has a ton of apps, Java apps that are written for it, and quite a few things you can get to run on this phone. And let's see, what else can I tell you? Well, I think I've covered the phone fairly well. Want to keep this short, but let me just suffice it to say that the phone's very nice. I'd buy it in a heartbeat again. It's a big advancement over any Tracfone that's I've ever seen, I've ever used. I've been a Tracfone customer probably for 6 years now, and this is a wonderful phone. It's not an iPhone, it's not a nice Android, Samsung phone, it's nothing like that, but for basic functionality, this phone works very nicely. It's easy to use, the screen works really well. When you touch the screen, it does work. One thing I did notice about the phone while I've been using it is that the screen will scratch. I have scratched the screen a tiny little bit. You can't see it there, but the screen will scratch. I would personally recommend you go ahead and get a protective film to put on this phone's screen. Anyway, I hope this review's helped you out a little bit. Like I said, I think it's a wonderful phone. I thought its predecessor was a good phone, but wow, was I wrong. And the reason that its predecessor doesn't even come close is because of this phone has the capacitive touch screen, the old phone has the resistive touch screen, and the organization of how this phone works compared to the old phone, this phone is just very well organized in how you access all the functionality, and I find it a pleasure to use. So anyway, go out and get yourself one of these. I think you'll be very happy with it. You won't look back, and anyway, have a good day.